How do the 4th generation P790 irons perform? Let's go find out. They just feel like you're striking them really good. They are going a long way. I'm amazed just how consistent these are. Like, they're going so fast. I'm going to start hitting shots with the 7 iron. It's quite interesting when you put this behind the golf ball, because it's definitely a little bit bigger than we've seen previously with, say, the 770. This is the Stealth that I've got in here for reference. It's definitely smaller than that, which you would expect because this is one of the Players Irons offerings compared to this being at Game Improvement. But it's definitely a bit bigger in terms of being a bit more confidence inspiring over the ball. It definitely doesn't look like what you get with kind of the MC in this range, where it's very small, and it definitely is a little bit of a step up from the 770. So if you're someone who likes a club that's a little bit bigger behind the golf ball, gives you a bit more confidence, this is a nice size. What I like is there's not loads of offset, so you get kind of that bit bigger shape and big thicker top line, but doesn't feel like it's going to go left, and I hate hitting it left, so that's definitely a good thing. You can see quite a big difference in terms of sole size here, especially to say there's just kind of one difference between these clubs, but I think that's quite important because you get such a wide range of handicaps using this 790, so you kind of need something that's going to help that high handicapper but also is appealing to that lower handicapper. Let's see if the numbers are as appealing. I've hit this out on the range and it was flying about 160. We're at 145 from the pin here, but it's bit into the wind, so let's see how it performs out on the course. One thing I'm interested to see is how well it stops on the green, because I have been hitting these high when I've been practicing with them, but the spin hasn't been quite as high. So let's see what the control's like. I mean, it definitely went high. I've pulled it, which has not helped. It's not helped with the stopping power situation because it's not landed on the green. So I can't really be very insightful there. I'll tell you what, for a club that's not forged though, obviously it has a forged face, but it's not a full one-piece forged. It feels really good, but it also combines that with feeling fast and quick off the face.
Strike.
They do feel like they fly really high, and actually that stopped pretty quick. Kind of looked like it came backwards. The camera by the green will probably say it didn't, but I'll say it did. So when I was like testing these on the range, I was getting like 5,000 spin with a 7 iron, which, to be honest, I wouldn't say is that low compared to other like clubs this size on the market. Obviously, when you've got more tech in the club head, the spin is going to drop a little bit, but you've got that extra kind of height and land angle to balance that out in terms of getting your control. And I do think these fly high enough to help you out in that situation. Now, a big reason these fly so high is because throughout this set they've got what we call flighted CGs, which means the centre of gravity is at a different height in each club to kind of create the flight and the launch conditions that you want. So obviously in a 5 iron you need a bit of help hitting it higher. We all know those kind of like low thins you can hit with them, not helpful. So we want the CG lower, we want it to launch higher, we want it to be a bit more forgiving. Then say in your wedges, you want something that's probably going to launch a little bit lower, you can control it, and you want something that's going to spin. So the CGs are all positioned, they've used AI, obviously, to make sure each club performs how you want it to, because you don't want your 5 iron and your pitching wedge to do the same thing. So that really comes into some of those launch conditions and why it's a bit more optimal. They just feel like you're striking them really good. Like, they're going so fast. They are going a long way, because that's pitching over the back. The side slopes really done me a solid there and brought that back into the pin. Now, I would say what I think TaylorMade have nailed with these is, like, I'm so picky about soles. I feel like when you go up to clubs and they get a bit thicker, it doesn't necessarily feel nice through the turf. But you don't actually really notice the difference here at all, which I think is really good, and probably why you get such a broad range of people using these. You can get good players playing them, but also high handicappers, because they're giving you that forgiveness, but they feel very playable. And like, you can control the shots well. I think I need to hit a short club into this green though. I've got a bit too much bat here. So I've got the last 3 generations of P790 here. It's actually weird now because this looks so simplistic and like sleek. And then you look back to the other ones, which you always kind of thought the same thing of, and realise like just how much it has changed. Anyway, you can see how much they've done with the back of this. It looks a lot more classic. It almost looks a bit more like MB styled. Obviously it's thicker, but the back's just a lot more simple. I wouldn't say they've changed loads in terms of kind of sizing. I prefer that it's not like this shiny chrome now and it's much more matted. I think that's nicer and it doesn't get as much glare over the ball either. But in terms of like overall styling, this has been so popular, so they're not going to completely change it. They've just made it like a little bit better. Now I have a TaylorMade combo set, but it's the 770s and the MCs. And with that, with the 5 iron, I would expect about 175 yards of carry, maybe pushing a little bit higher than that on a really flushed shot, but on average 175. I've seen quite a bit more out of this so far. So let's see if that still happens out here on the course. 185 to the pin. Can we get past it? I don't know, it's gone dead straight at it. Quite a bit thin. It's pitched short. Maybe if I strike out the middle, that'd help. To be honest though, even with like a slightly thin strike, it's still giving me like good numbers, which obviously you'd expect from this model. The whole point of this is like, it's in that P series players range, but it's the most forgiving option. So even without flushing that there, it's on 181.7. So not too bad. Not my best, but still longer than the 770. That was good. 188, we're getting there. I would say these are standard length and lie, and I usually have mine quite a lot flat. So I'm definitely hitting a couple left with this. That's just the lie angle. I would expect that with any kind of club that I had in standard. It's so nice. This feels really solid. It's gone over the back of the green. Hello. 194. Not bad. It's a little me with a 5 iron. I'll take that. I would say the spin with this is low. It's looking like 3,600-ish on average, which actually it's probably not that low with this kind of structure of iron. You would expect that, but that's balanced out with the height these shots are going. So these are nearly flying up at 100 feet. So you're going to get the control and the land angle from that, so you can stop it. Now, obviously, if I hit this shot with my MC is going to spin more. It's probably going to stop quicker. But it's like that balance of what do you want. If you need extra distance, if you need a club that's going to help you get the ball in there more, give you that launch angle, be a little bit more forgiving when you fin it, then obviously this is that club. So you just got to kind of decide what you want. I think that's what's great about this range is there's 4 different options. So you can have something a little bit more, maybe control, workable at the bottom of the bag, and then go to something stronger like this at the top. I mean, I've still not struck that my best, and it's just fallen so high. Stopped pretty quick. I just think there's a lot more control in these than you would think, which is probably why so many different people are putting them in play. It's kind of making me question why I don't have more forgiving longer clubs. Because like this flies further than my P770 4 iron. Maybe I should just put it in as a driving iron. Okay, 9 iron. We're down in the scoring clubs, so it's going to be interesting to see what the kind of control is like here. Caught that a bit heely. It needs to go. Front edge. Maybe I was a bit bold on my how far away from the green to go. But I did hit some out at like 142 when I was testing these on the practice ground, which is like a good 7 yards longer than what I would normally expect out of a 9 iron. Looks good. Please go. This is not good for my confidence. I'm striping them and they're making front edge. So let's shimmy forward a bit. I mean, they're stopping pretty quick, but I'm pitching them in the fringe, so that's definitely helping it out. You know what I'm amazed just how consistent these are. Because you always hear that thing like, you're going to get jumpers with these kind of irons. But actually, I would say my carry distance on overall has been pretty consistent. I have just flushed that one into the middle of the green, but overall, the front to back dispersion has been pretty good, even my testing. Like, it's only about 10 yards, maybe 12. which isn't massively different from what you'd see from any other iron type. So actually, maybe these like long distance clubs aren't as jumpy as we think. What is my overview of this range? I think it's pretty interesting. I would definitely say it's probably my favourite iron in that player's distance category, because it really does embrace that player's side of it. Yes, you get loads of distance, there's loads of forgiveness, but it doesn't feel like you're using a really forgiving club. The top line's a little bit thicker than some other models, but the sole interaction's really good. It feels like you're using a player's product, and it really blends into the rest of the set well, so you can combo it. So I think if you're someone who wants that extra distance and forgiveness, this is such a good option. It's why it's their most popular model. For me personally, maybe I don't need that much distance. I mean, the 5 iron nearly goes as far as my 5 would. So I might need a few extra wedges at the bottom of the bag. But obviously this is designed for a specific person, and for that person or group of people, it's an amazing product. I think TaylorMade have nailed it from last year. The looks are really refined. I think this looks fantastic in the golf bag. Quite similar to the 770, so almost like people might not even know which model you've picked. So you're not really picking one model based on aesthetics, you're just trying all the P series out and seeing which you prefer. On that point, if you haven't seen my review of the rest of the range, head across and see that. We've also had loads of new iron reviews recently, so if you fancy something maybe from Titleist instead, I've reviewed them too. So look at the rest of the P series, look at the T series, see what you think. Or maybe you just sold on these, you're going to put these in the bag. I won't blame you. Oh, Saturday. Could cut that bit out.